We've had a pretty good week for our black stars in wrestling, and we're going to get right into everything that they've accomplished this week. So stay tuned right here at WrstlXtra.
Yo, what is good, people? It is your boy A Dazzle here alongside Mex, the WrestleManiac. This is WrstlXtra. Folks, we had Survivor Series. The Undertaker's gone, so they say. Let's get into it. Bro, what is going on, man? What's good?
Yeah, not too bad, man. You know what? I watched what's happened on the weekend. Even from Wednesday, from AEW through to what happened on the weekend. And then obviously some of the news we'll get into later on in the show in regards to AEW and new signees this past week. And I thought, for our black stars, they've had a pretty good week. They've had a pretty good week in terms of showing prominence. This is what we like to see. And obviously on this show on WrstlXtra, this is what we break down and talk about.
Of course.
Big up NK joining us nice and early in the chat. But yeah, what do you wanna kind of go through first?
Bro, let's just hit it off with Survivor Series. So let me first go back just a little bit. I got a bit too excited with the intro, yeah. And I just wanted to talk about the wrestling, and I forgot to say, yo, folks, you are listening on AffinityExtra.com, and you are watching on the WrestleManiac UK YouTube channel. So let's get into it. So the first thing I'm gonna hit at, yeah, is let's kind of do this in chronological order. Those big words, I don't know how to spell it, but chronological order, yeah. And let's hit AEW straight away, man. For me, it was amazing to see you had Top Flight in their match against the Young Bucks. And we also had what I was expecting, but I don't think I expected it yet. But I still wasn't ready for it. And it works. And I'm just like, yeah, this is nice. Will Hobbs is now part of Team Taz. Will Hobbs picked up the FTR championship, and everyone thought he was going to brag about it, probably, challenge Brian Cage and, do that. But then, wham, he smacks Cody Rhodes with the belt. And then, we've got Taz with Brian Cage and Will Hobbs, bro. Brian Cage and Will Hobbs with the loudmouth Ricky Starks right behind them. Bro, that picture alone is like, yeah, I like this. Yeah, I like this.
The picture was money. And for me, I like it in the sense that, Will Hobbs was being used too often by Moxley, Cody Rhodes, Darby Allin as the guy that runs out, makes the save, and all of this kind of stuff. And of course, we are still warming up to him in terms of the mainstream audience. We are still warming up to him, getting to know what he's about. But all of a sudden, and obviously you lot can play back the other episodes of WrstlXtra, I have not been interested in Team Taz at all. Team FTW, everything answer apart from Ricky Starks, I have not been interested. I don't know their mission statement. I don't know what they're here for.
Mission statement.
But all of a sudden, I'm invested because Will Hobbs and Brian Cage, like you said, with the smaller but still very talented Ricky Starks. My one question to you and to those watching: what is the role that you think that Will Hobbs will now take up in this faction? Because obviously Brian Cage is already the quote unquote big man. So what kind of position do you think that Will Hobbs fills here?
That's a good, very, very good question. I think there's an answer to what I think will happen and what I think should happen. It's easy to answer what I think should happen. For me, I see Will Hobbs and Brian Cage doing things together, whereas then Ricky Starks is then left to kind of be a little bit more of the the solo guy, the guy that goes after the solo championships and stuff like that. And as much as Brian Cage is more than able to go for those big championships, and it makes a whole lot of sense, I just feel as though a pairing of Cage and Hobbs is just unstoppable, bro. It's just unstoppable. And whether they do that as an actual tag team or not, or it's literally just the one backs the other in singles, then it works either way. I saw someone do like a fan art, and it was like a cartoon style drawing, and it was literally, you had the small Taz, massive Will Hobbs and Brian Cage, and then Ricky Starks' head. Ricky Starks' own head in between the two of them, and for me that's what it is. I just see the two big guys just being two big guys together. Them are backing each other up, and then when Ricky Starks does his thing, they're backing him. Now I don't know whether that's me kind of being a Ricky Starks fan and thinking he should be the center of attention, which I kind of think he kind of is. I don't think that's obvious, but it's best we go down that route, to be honest, for me. But yeah,
so that's what you think should happen. So what do you think will happen?
What I think they will do, bro, I have no idea, because it's very difficult to predict, and that's not in a necessarily a good way. It's not easy to predict how AEW are going to book things and book people. As I said, you've got Brian Cage, who is more than capable, more than believable to be, a future champion or go after the TNT championship and all that type of thing. And already it's been a little bit weird the last couple of weeks with Brian Cage and Ricky Stark kind of both talking about wanting the TNT championship.
Yeah.
Like when they cut that promo about being missed out and not being ranked and blah blah blah, and then they said, okay, so what we're gonna do is, and both of them were talking about going after the TNT championship. I'm like, pick which one you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's very difficult. I can't actually answer that question. I don't know what I think they will do. It's a wait and see job. It's an absolute wait and see job. But at the same time, Taz is in a very good position, having those three. And to add to that, this is something that I mentioned on Twitter. To add to that, I think one more person needs to be added to this group. And I think a very good person to add to the group is Anthony Ogogo.
Oh,
yeah. Anthony Ogogo would be brilliant, because I think it would be, because you've got Will Hobbs he's not a rookie, but he's unknown to most of us in that respect.
Yeah.
He's been doing this thing for a while, so he's got experience in that respect, but he's unknown to us. Whereas Anthony Ogogo comes in as literally the rookie, but he can talk as well, just like Starks. So we can learn from him. He's got Taz. Them two we've heard already on the commentary on AEW. They've got a good chemistry as well. Yeah. So I think it would just be a nice way to kind of push the, a braggadocious type of Anthony Ogogo, backed up by these two big men and the loudmouth Ricky Starks and the legendary Taz. I think would be a brilliant way to bring him in, and kind of have someone around him to, push him up. So I think.
No, yeah, I mean,
he works.
It's a shout still. NK said Team Taz looks like a legit faction. But yeah, they finally do.
Real talk.
When you mentioned one more person, my mind started going off before you said Anthony Ogogo, and who came to my mind was Big Swole.
Mate. Not bad.
Because I mean, I always like just a female dynamic in a faction as well.
Right.
And I think she would very much fit the character of what them guys there are looking like they're going to do, sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, Will Hobbs has kind of, I mean, that was the main event segment last week of AEW. He signed off as the talking point in that sense. Right. So yeah, very nice to see something's happening with him. He's not just going to be the guy that keeps coming out and making saves for faces.
That is true.
Probably get into something now. So he's got a match this week. So
yeah, it fits him much better. The big guy, he just looks aggressive. He just looks dangerous. For him to be a face, kind of worked, but it was kind of like, okay, so what do we do with him? And I feel as if almost AEW may have felt like that. Him running out, because that's what he was doing, was running out. Apart from having dark, matches on dark, I think he had about 2-3 matches on dark. Him running out every two weeks to help Darby Allin was a little bit like, and it was always like the last thing you'd see. It wasn't like he'd run out and then kind of take out everybody. Like you'd run out and then everyone would clear the ring.
Literally.
Okay, so what are we doing? So this fits him much better. He's powerful, as I said. He's aggressive. He just looks mean. Even probably when he smiles, he looks mean.
And he's got one nasty screw face. Like
this is what I'm saying, bro.
How he ended the show. Yeah.
So man, it fits him real nice, real nice. Going back, I mentioned Top Flight. So Top Flight had their biggest match of their career. Two brothers, Dante and Darius Martin, who are 21 and 19. So they're young, they're kids. Like I think they're almost young enough to be my own kids. Kind of, almost. I'm not sure my age there. Yeah, man, they had the biggest match of their careers against the Young Bucks. It was a great match. Dante Martin has got hang time for days, bro. I feel like he could jump above like 5 ropes, let alone 3. You know what I mean? He's got hops for days, bro. It's crazy. Darius Martin is older and is a little bit more experienced. Was known as Airwolf on the indie scene, and he's had a decent level of exposure as Airwolf. He was on Major League Wrestling from quite a few times last year. He's appeared for Impact. He's been against a few people. So to see them guys doing their thing as brothers, and then they got signed a couple of days ago. So it's brilliant, young talent. And one thing to mention as well, I think I'm sure I mentioned this last week, but one thing to mention is actually no, I didn't mention it last week because the match didn't happen until the day after we recorded. The most important thing that happened is that during their little video package, as they before they had their match, you saw a clip of the two of them coming bursting out of a curtain, and Darius Martin, the older Airwolf, was wearing Black Star
t-shirt.
Oh, bro! I went crazy. So I'll tell you the quick story about that. Yeah, I'll tell you the quick story. So that actual show, the clip from that show, was a Black Label Pro wrestling show, and that was It was actually Black Lives Matter. The show was called Black Lives Matter. Black Wrestlers Matter. Sorry, Black Wrestlers Matter. So he came out with that shirt. Someone else who was there took a picture and sent that to me. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And this was like a couple days before they debuted on Dark 3 weeks ago. So I've then messaged Airwolf, was like, yo, that's amazing. And congratulations, about to debut. They came out when they came out and they had the black hoodies on. So I've then messaged Airwolf again. I was like, it would have been amazing if he came out in my the shirt that you wore.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what? If they didn't give us the AEW hoodies, I probably would have. So then when I saw the clip, bro, I was like, oh my God. I said, listen, I messaged him again and I was like, bro, we got the shirt on the show, even if we didn't mean to.
Yeah,
man. It was crazy, bro. I was just like, oh my gosh, that's my shirt. 100%. I've like played it back like 3 or 4 times.
No, you should be proud. And guys, go get your Black Wrestling Alliance t-shirts at Pro Wrestling Tees.
Yeah, man.
Plug. It's an expensive plug. Go get them. Tees.
And you know what? Actually, this week they are actually 20% off all week. Black Friday all week. So prowrestlingtees.com/Black Wrestling Alliance. So go get those. No coupon, no discount code needed. Just go and buy the shirts. 20% off.
Our guy Mike, AEW News 1 is in the chat. What's up, Mike? Hope you're well. He says Top Flight are money. Yes, they are. You know what? I just think this division, and I know even Mike himself is pretty much lobbying for another tag belt in this division because it's just absolutely stacked. But I think for Top Flight, we probably I don't know if we're going to see them consistently. I don't know if they're going to work on them more. Obviously, I think character is the main thing for them. The ability we've seen, they've got it in spades.
Crazy.
Once they kind of get a character, like at least, I guess we can make them kind of similar to the Private Party boys. And they've been working on that gimmick and they're doing good there as well. So yeah, they probably need to just work on that aspect. And then as well, maybe how they are on mic and stuff. I saw them on Being the Elite during the week, and they were in a segment with the Young Bucks, and they looked so shy on camera, like they just looked like they don't want to talk, sort of thing. Like the older one, what's the older one's name? Which one is
Darius? That's Darius.
Yeah, so Darius was trying to kind of carry the speaking parts, but you can tell they're both so nervous, which I guess they would be. It's all learning. But yeah, for me, that's what they need to sharpen up on now because they're more than there.
And that's kind of something that usually translates when it comes to going from indies to TV. Ability is the main thing you focus on in the indies, really, and then when it comes to TV, you then have to now start thinking about the entertainment, the talking on the mic, your relationship with the crowd, as much as there's not much of a crowd nowadays. But all of that is very important. So and again, like I said, they're young, 21 and 19. And the joke is both of them have been wrestling for 4 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's just mad. That's mad alone. So yeah, so shout out to them. But also as well, another tag team that we've seen kind of, and we're recently signed is the Acclaimed. Bro, I think together in the ring, they look great.
Yeah.
They look amazing. Their finishers that they've done, their double team finishers that they've done are nice, real nice. Max Caster looks legit. Anthony Bowens is just is built just crazy, and he can move nice as well. So those two are looking amazing as well, man. So it's interesting to see that AEW have already had this stacked tag team division, and we've questioned whether people have been used right and all that kind of stuff, and some have been forgotten about, but they've added more tag teams that are decent, and as much as the Acclaimed are kind of freshly put together, they're looking great already. They're putting more attention on the Hybrid 2, who have been there for a while, Angelico and Jack Evans, which I love both of them. Angelico's swag is
my
ridiculous.
guy. Angelico is my guy.
It's ridiculous, bro. I remember walking from my bedroom to from my living room to the kitchen, and I was walking like I was Angelico
doing the bop.
You know what I mean? I was like, yeah. So I'm hoping for a resurgence of this tag team division in some way. Just to put, just to make a little bit more sense of it. We've still got FTR, Lucha Brothers, Santana and Ortiz. Bro, it's ridiculous.
Bro,
they need to start using them. They need to start using everyone, man. It's crazy.
100. Jar Jar Gang says hi. Thanks for joining us, bro. NK made a good point here. He said, what I love about AEW's tag team division is a variety of teams they have at their disposal. There's a mixture of veterans and upcoming stars. Top Flight are the next big thing. Them versus Private Party soon. 100%. Bro,
I need that. I need that.
Even like you were just saying, as far as I'm concerned, we have not seen Santana and Ortiz yet. They've been involved in all kinds of stuff apart from the actual tag division. Like, we ain't seen them, man. And I was very excited when they signed. Because I've seen the indie stuff. I know they were in Impact or TNA for a long spell, but I never really caught them over there. So there is too much. There's got to be like a TNT tag division championship or a 3-way championship. There's got to be something.
Imagine now, that's crazy, to think that there could possibly be a secondary tag team championship on one brand. It's not like the Raw Tag Team Championships and the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, but to almost have a main tag team championship and almost like a mid-card tag team championship like that, it would
work or something like they have in Japan.
Yeah, it would work. It would work. Yeah, like a juniors, that would work. I think that would be a good idea. Whether they do it or not, we'll see. I'm I'm probably seeing the 6-man tag championship happen more likely.
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe, yeah, just to make it
We'll
different.
see. Yeah. But
Well, like they said, they've got this rumored second show in the new year, I believe.
Very true.
So
Very true.
who knows what that's gonna bring?
Yeah, that is very true. That is very true. Moving on from this little talk, still on AEW, Jade Cargill got her foot stuck in, you know what I mean? She got stuck in, bro, like literally, like boom. Attacked Brandy Rhodes backstage. The best part about that whole thing though was Big Swole running out and calling Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero, Bert and Ernie, and telling them to take Jade Cargill, who was in a bright yellow dress, telling them to take Big Bird back. Yes. Only Big Swole. But yeah, the furtherance in that story.
Big Swole was like up to. I said Big Swole. She was as tall as Jade Cargill's belly button. Exactly. running her mouth at her stomach.
Let me at him.
Yeah, literally.
But no, to see the furtherance of the story is going to be nice as well. Obviously, then Red Velvet came out to check on Brandy Rhodes as well. So, and as I said, we've seen Jade Cargill with Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero. So that should be interesting. So yeah, that's something. Just see what happens with that.
I must say, I was a bit disappointed with this segment. Not the execution of the segment, but more that I feel like the week before, Jade Cargill, Brandy Rhodes was like the hottest thing coming out of the show. And for me, this segment was just a bit tame as to everything that had happened before. It was like backstage, Brandy's arm was already in the chair by the time we got backstage. The stomp happened. Cargill fled with Nyla and Vicky Guerrero, which is pretty much unexplained to this point. And I just feel you can't just do everything that happened last week, be such a buzz last week, mention Shaq last week, and
where's Shaq?
Nothing. Yeah, like I just thought, like coming off everything that happened the week before, this segment was a bit flat for me personally. I didn't see anyone else complain about it, so maybe I should be looking at it as two things together. No. I just felt like it just didn't follow with the heat that had dropped the week before.
And I get that. I completely understand that. I think to defend it in any way, I don't think it needs defending, to be honest. But because I think you're right in terms of the lack of consistency, I guess, from what happened the week before. But I think it may have been a safer option.
Okay.
Because of the backlash in terms of like their execution, all that kind of stuff. It may be just a little bit safer to do something like that. We're coming out kind of halfway into it. We've seen the classic one when the cameraman runs and and someone being beaten up already and all that kind of stuff. It was all right. Like I said, it furthers the story and whatnot. We know now that Brandy's working an injury, and I think Red Velvet posted earlier today that before a dark match, she was like, "Oh, it's a shame that you can't come out and support me tonight, but I'm going to do you proud," and all that kind of talk there. So, we're seeing something brewing. And if you haven't seen it, the little Twitter war between Brandy and Jade Cargill is funny, bro. Yeah. Oh my word! You've got Jade, Brandy's, saying these things, and Jade is kind of just laughing it off as if to say, like, "Who do you think you are? Like, why are you offering?" You know what I mean? So that's it's carrying on, and it's nice. I think, as you said though, it did feel compared to the heightened level of last week or the previous week, it did feel a little bit flat compared. But I think it's just a safer way to do it, and it still works, still does the job.
Do you think that obviously with the injury angle on Brandy, that Red Velvet steps into the ring with Jade Cargill as like Brandy's proxy in the first instance to give Jade like maybe a first win?
I think it might be. I think that would be a good idea as well. I think it would be a very good idea, actually, to be honest. So, as you said, to give Jade a first win, give her a first look, and bit of time in the ring and stuff like that. I think it works. I think I don't know whether having Big Swole involved kind of or could possibly deteriorate the like Brandy Rose's presence?
Sorry, I'm laughing because this
Go
is
on,
beginning to
go on.
sound like WWE putting all the black people in the same segment.
Exactly what's happening right now.
We've got all the black men in WWE.
Well.
Yeah, we've got all the black men in WWE in the same segment, and now all the black women on AEW in the same segment.
Oh Lord, yeah, it's crazy, it's crazy. But I think having Big Swole may tarnish Brandy Rose's level in all of this, because I believe, the bigger match on paper would be Jade versus Big Swole. But at the same time, given the story, given the whole point of it, given everything else, the climax really should be Jade versus Brandy. So I don't know whether it may then help a Big Swole versus Nyla Rose feud. Possibly that could happen as well. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It's interesting, but
I don't think that women, man. I don't think Swole should be involved necessarily. I think she should just play that role like that. I was backstage. I saw it happen. I tried to stop it. Like that's it. And that's as much as her involvement goes. Obviously, we know Red Velvet is kind of tied with Brandy Rhodes. So, like I said, she should probably be the proxy, if any. But yeah, I mean, I don't really want to see Shaq wrestle, if I'm being completely honest. But they've mentioned Shaq. So
where is he?
Are we gonna let's move towards that if that's the case?
Yeah. I'm waiting to see what that even is, because you mention him and then you don't.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, it's weird. It's a bit weird. But let's move away from All Elite and let's go to the pay-per-view Survivor Series. Yes, we had the week before on WWE, but we'll get back to that maybe at some point, possibly. Actually, no. Let's go back, because there's one thing I need to mention, and the one guy I need to mention is Leon Ruff. He defended his championship, albeit by disqualification, because Damian Priest came out and smacked him purposely so he'd get disqualified and retain against Johnny Gargano. But what was nice, what I really, really liked, was backstage was little Leon Ruff standing up to tall Damian Priest, questioning him whether he thinks he's good enough to hold the championship, and do you think I'm not good enough, and whatever, and then bam, one slap. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And he runs off. Like the little kids, at school when you're in year 6, and then you get this like little year 3 boy come up first week in the junior playground, and he comes up and he thinks he's bad. You know what I mean? That's what it felt like, and he slaps him and runs off. But at the same time, they had a little bit of a thing as well in the ring later in the night as well, where Leon Ruff kind of came on top of both of them. So it's nice. It's nice to see that they're running with this whole Leon Ruff as champion. And we'll see. More than likely, we're seeing a triple threat match going to happen between all 3 of them. Whether Ruff retains, I wouldn't even be fussed if he didn't. If I'm honest, just the run that he's had long enough, to defend it and whatnot would be nice. And then just to have a legit triple threat match, I'm sure they'll make him look good. Whether he wins or not, he'll look great. And yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting.
For me, WWE they've had previous of this kind of storyline where the underdog, does disqualification, he got punched in the face, he retains. Where they've gone wrong in the past is that kind of sequence lasts for too long. I think we talked about this last week as well, where what's the guy with the chin, or no chin, should I say? Ellsworth.
James Ellsworth.
Remember, Ellsworth kept finding a way, slithering to beat AJ Styles and all this kind of stuff. It kept happening week on week. But they've done it. They've done that little bit of comedy. It's happened. And the next best thing that happened, which you mentioned, was the fact that Leon Ruff look, I'm not a joke. I don't need you to do this kind of stuff to save me and all this kind of stuff. If I don't deserve the title, I don't deserve it. He stood up for himself. So he's now made himself a credible guy. Like, all right, I was trying to help you.
Yeah.
If you want these hands, then we can all go at it, sort of thing. And he's stood up to the challenge as well. And he said, yeah, let's all go. And like you mentioned as well, they had a little bit in the ring, which he kind of came out on top, made a fool of
for sure.
Damian Priest and Gargano. So, like you said, whether these guys will get in the ring for a triple threat match and he loses, gets decimated, retains, I don't know. And I don't really think it matters at this point. He's kind of shown himself that he's not a pushover. And to be honest, it would be nice if he retains and they build, you know, a new person, a new star from this. But I guess that there is the issue of believability and how someone as Leon Ruff coming over however many guys they put in front of him.
Yeah, that's true, and it won't last long for that reason alone. So whether it retains or whenever they have this expected triple threat match, it won't last long. Someone else will come along, whether it be one of the same two guys or just someone else will come along and take it maybe before the end of the year, to be honest. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be too surprised, but at the same time I wouldn't be upset about it either. The fact that he's had it long enough is nice.
Sorry, they've got War Games on the 6th of December,
right?
So they've got what, 2 episodes before War Games. He could lose it on TV before War Games, or whatever match they set up at War Games. He could probably lose it there.
I see the triple threat happening at War Games though. I see the triple threat happening at War Games for sure. Yeah, I think so. It will be big enough, I think, if they do the right thing in the next 2 weeks. They can make that happen on War Games. That would be nice.
And in defeat, they can make him look like a star as well. Whenever
exactly that. That's what I'm saying. So especially with it being at a quote unquote, well, is it a pay-per-view? Yeah, a pay-per-view. Takeover. If he shows himself strong in a pay-per-view, more than likely it would be either very good high-flying skills or the little kid with good heart. You know what I mean? He kicks out of enough, enough two counts. You know what I mean? That alone will do it. So let's go, Leon Ruff. Speaking of pay-per-views and moving on to the next thing, let's talk about what was Survivor Series. Give me generally what you thought of the whole thing as a pay-per-view. How do you rate it?
The singles matches, I think, were very good.
Okay.
So, apart from Bobby Lashley, Sami Zayn, that was just basically one-way traffic. But Bobby showed what he's about. It was always going to be one-way traffic. It lasted longer than I thought it did. It would, and Bobby came out on top. But I guess we'll get on towards the tag team match and how brilliant that was. But even from the dominance of Bianca Belair in the women's Survivor Series match was just absolutely great. The feats of athleticism she was showing to escape Nia Jax in that kind of final sequence. They've got an issue on their hands because she's picking up the team. They want to establish Sasha. I don't know what they're going to give her to do in the meantime, and when they're going to pull the plug on Sasha, because it's looking like it kind of needs to happen. I don't know. I want to see Sasha side as well. So
it's a tough one because I'm of the thinking almost as if I was when not long before Bianca Belair took on Shayna Baszler in NXT. So for me, the momentum was going on and she was winning the Battle Royal. She was getting rid of people. She's doing all these things, having all these wins and all that kind of stuff there. And then obviously at the time, she was kind of like almost the only person to face Shayna Baszler. But at the same time, I personally still felt as if it was too early for her to win that championship, especially after the first match. When it came to the second match, I was like, okay, you've got to put it on her now.
Got to pull the plug, yeah.
Well, I think I'm back in a very similar place. She's obviously, even better now and all that kind of thing. If she was in NXT, she'd have to be champion by now and all that kind of stuff. I still feel as though there still needs to be a little bit more of a run before they push her towards the SmackDown Women's Championship. When I get my words out. So seeing Sasha Banks and then Carmella's, attacking Sasha Banks every week, and that's cool. With Bianca, then they'll definitely need to find something for her to do, and it would have to be a meaningful feud. Maybe with Bailey. I can't see anyone else. To be honest, there's no one else, is there? There's literally no one else.
This is the thing. If she faces Bailey, it's like that's a feud I expect her to come out on top on, and then next has to be Sasha.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Ideally, I don't want Bianca Belair in the title picture before WrestleMania.
Right.
So I think
I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening, but it's worrying to think that for the next 4 months they have to find something for her to do.
And she's picking up steam.
It's worrying. It's worrying because we've seen so many times, and we can name so many people, a long list of stars who, we've heard the whole, they're gonna get a push or Vince likes them, and then 3-4 months later, you don't see them again, or it's the complete opposite to what we heard before. So it is a little bit worrying in that respect. But I definitely think it's way too early for her to have a championship. Or the SmackDown championship specifically. So yeah, I'm worried. I'm worried for her. I'm very worried for her. But as great as she is, we'll just see what happens. I mean, speaking of being worried, I mean, you mentioned Keith Lee yesterday on your page, or was it this morning? This morning, about Keith Lee's run and his 6 disqualification finishes in 10 matches. Then we're talking, then we've had all these rumors and talk of the state that Big E's in at the moment, had no matches on Survivor Series. People are wondering whether the push is still happening, whether just wait until after Survivor. It's like, okay, so what's gonna happen? What are you actually trying to do here with these people? Because
exactly,
you're giving us one thing one week, you're giving us another thing the next week. Then they're just, as you said, like with Keith Lee, how do you have 6 disqualification finishes in 10 matches?
You know what? And I know it feels like every week now we're talking about AEW rankings, but this is where the rankings on AEW work, because
right.
Because in WWE they're trying to protect the whole roster. So this is why we keep getting these DQ and no contests and count outs and all this kind of stuff. Whereas in AEW, you can lose, but because you're still ranked like 4th, it doesn't look too bad. You see what I mean? It's still, you're still there and stuff, which makes a lot of sense. So, but because WWE don't have something like that, they don't want anyone to lose.
It's
Keith Lee, like, if you didn't want him to beat Bobby Lashley on Raw the other day, you should have had I don't know, Keith Lee versus Sheamus or something. Since Sheamus is gonna lose anyway. Like I just they need to work these things out better. Like,
I mean, I've already heard that after what happened on Raw, so you've got the triple threat match happening with, is it Keith Lee, Matt Riddle, now known as just Riddle, which is weird, and AJ Styles, is Styles 3, and they're going for the number 1 contendership. I've already heard that it's going to be Braun Strowman as number 1 contender.
Well,
so and that's down to the whole the confrontation with Adam Pearce and whatever else. So, but at the same time, I don't mind, because it could possibly then lead to, oh god, and it's more black on black crime. But Keith Lee versus Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's where they're gonna go with that.
Yeah, I think that's where it's gonna go, and that's fine. I think that's fine for me. But yeah, this whole, where do we push them? Do we not? What are we doing with them and whatnot? It's a little bit sad. But moving on, still talking about the New Day. The tag team match between the New Day and the Street Profits was exactly what I expected it to be, what I wanted it to be, and the Street Profits came out on top as well, which was perfect. I think for me, I've heard a lot of people moaning about the booking in general of Survivor Series and how, you know, it's kind of like a throwaway thing because, you know, storylines go out the window and they don't care about who wins and who and all that kind of stuff. But for me, that match was perfect for both teams. It was obviously a bit of a passing of the torch, if not just a show of respect from the New Day, who are the more experienced, to the younger Street Profits, and obviously the Street Profits establishing themselves even more further now as a real tag team, as a you know, you can't deny it's not just because of the pandemic and less people being active, and that's why they still have the tag team championships and blah blah blah. And it was great as well that it happened in the same week that they were named as one of the top 5 tag teams in the world by PWI. We can argue that. Let's not go there. That's another show, all on its own. Let's not
have a quick conversation about that before we do start of the week.
Okay, we will. That's cool. But yeah, so for them to go out and it was as good as it was. The you know, the matchup between Kofi and Montez was great. Xavier Woods and Angelo Dawkins were not forgotten about at all in the match either. So it was just as perfect as it should have been, to be honest. I don't think it could have been any better. I think the finish possibly could have been a little bit better. It seemed a little bit anticlimactical, a little bit, but in general, it was great, man. And I was glad it was the match that I was waiting to see, and it lived up to the hype for sure.
Yeah,
for sure,
definitely. I think for me, shout out to Angelo Dawkins. I mean, I've got an affinity in my heart for this guy. Honestly, like no matter. You know what? It hurts me. We always sit here. We talk about Montez Ford. No matter what podcast show, anything we're all on, it's Montez Ford that's going to be the breakout star. But
right.
Dawkins is pulling his weight. He is definitely pulling his weight and showing he can hang, at least from a performance aspect as well. And even Xavier Woods as well. I mentioned it when he first came back from
of course.
This guy looks like a new man. Like he looks like a totally new man. I see him gorilla pressing Montez Ford. Not that Montez Ford is the biggest guy in the world, but
still
this is new stuff in his repertoire. I mean, as well, last but not least, we can't gloss over New Day and Gears of War partnership. And what they've done, their entrance as well. Absolutely fantastic. Just more power to them and what they're doing.
You know what? That whole thing, that whole entrance, not even just the New Day Gears of War thing, but what the Street Profits did before they came out, bro.
Yeah.
Yo, that had me hyped, bro. That did exactly what it needed to do. And speaking of Angelo Dawkins as well, he's definitely putting the work in, bro. He's definitely putting his weight in, but he's been taking the weight off, bro. He's lost a lot of weight, you know.
Yeah, he has. He's slimming up.
He's lost a lot of weight, man. He's slimming up nicely, man. And man, shout out to him, big time shout out to Angelo Dawkins. He's making sure, and as I said, he's making sure he's not being forgotten about. He's making sure he's not the Marty Jannetty. You know what I mean? Basically. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's amazing. Okay, I'm gonna give you your space to talk real quick about this PWI. Let's go.
Right. So shout out to Mike, because Mike has reminded me, in fact, he brought it up and put it in the chat. He goes, what do you think about the Golden Role Models being ranked 3 on PWI top 50
let's go.
Right. So first and foremost, Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, in my opinion, should be first. That whole story that has gone on since basically the inception of AEW as a TV show till now has been absolutely brilliant, still going on. I think FTR being first, off the back of 6 months or so just being signed to AEW, because let's be honest, whatever they were doing in WWE before they left and the period where they spent their 90 days or whatever, they weren't doing anything. So how did they get first? Yes, they won the titles, but for me, they shouldn't probably be even top 2, 3. Like,
yeah. No. I hear that. Top 3 was a bit of a stretch. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. Golden Role Models, Bailey and Sasha, have been fantastic. I was actually speaking to NK about this last night or 2 nights ago, maybe, and to be honest, the question is, yes, they held the belts, but did they do a lot when they were holding all the belts? They were kind of defending more their individual championships and not the tag team championships. So for me, second, third is probably about fair.
Okay.
I'm happy they weren't included though, and they weren't like overseen or missed out as a female tag team.
They couldn't have. They couldn't.
Yeah, it was brilliant to see them there. I think Street Profits were 5th.
5, yeah, number 5.
Street Profits were 5th. Where were New Day? You remember?
New Day were like number 8, I believe.
Okay.
Let me check. Obviously, I posted about this.
I didn't pay much attention to anyone outside the top 5. And forgive me,
right.
Motor City, I'm not really familiar with their work. I've heard a lot of good things about them, but I'm not really familiar with their work.
Amazing. Yeah, New Day were number 8, by the way.
Yeah. So I can't talk much on Motor City, but I just did think that 1 and 2 should have definitely been 1, Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, and number 2, Golden Role Models. But I'm happy with Golden Role Models at 3. I'll take that.
Yeah, quickly for me, I agree that FTR shouldn't have been at the top. As I've said to you already, and I've said, and I'll say over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. I'm a man. I'm on that whole criteria thing. I look at what they say is the criteria, and then judge it like that, not based on who I think my favorites are, not who I think are just the best in the ring and blah blah blah. None of that stuff. I look at that criteria, so I can make some kind of sense as to why they're number 1. But at the same time, I still actually, for the first time in a long time, can actually disagree. Yeah. You were very right in saying that, because I mentioned how when it comes to the criteria, they've won championship in WWE and then a championship in AEW. No one's done that. That alone, just to be able to say that is big. It is. Yeah. However they've done it, when they were in WWE, it probably meant very little, them winning it, how they won it, all that kind of stuff. Then obviously when they moved over to AEW, it created this whole hysteria, all that kind of stuff. Everyone was talking about it for weeks and weeks and blah blah blah. That again, boom, goes up. Then within 4 months of being in AEW, they won the tag team championships. That again bumps it straight up. The other thing that they look at as well, though, is the team's chemistry and just their chemistry and all that kind of stuff and whatnot. And as a tag team, obviously they've been functioning as a tag team. They only function as a tag team. So again, that bumps you right up. So we can make sense of the number 1, but at the same time, for me, I'm not the biggest fan of the Kenny Omega and Adam Page thing. Like I get, that the storyline has been the storyline and it's very emotional because of their connection, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But for me, it's felt as a little bit longed out or lazy, in a sense where it's kind of like it's there and they can revisit it because they've got a history that everyone knows about, their friends and all that kind of stuff. It's easy. But I feel as though their run as tag team champions specifically, it hasn't been about the championship. It's been about them. So that for me kind of makes me feel like, okay, the story's great, but you've neglected this championship that you took off a pair of guys that were more than capable of carrying on. And then, as we talked about earlier today, about the neglect of tag team division in general on AEW. So you've had Proud and Powerful not do anything. The Lucha Brothers hardly, didn't do anything, all that kind of stuff. Or people that could have won the championship in that space of time. But that's just me. But with the role models, I think, the reason why they were in third is because they weren't a tag team throughout that whole 12-month period of the evaluation. When they did have the championships, they did defend them. And I'm sure they defended them at least. There was 1 week they defended them twice in 1 week. And then at pay-per-view, on every show, they've done it on every show, and still defended their own individual championships as well. So for me, that puts them straight above FTR. Yeah. Straight away. So if not above Kenny and Page, then yeah. So I guess I would have to agree with one, same as you, with Kenny Kenny and Page is number 1, and then the Golden Role Models was number 2. FTR, yeah, maybe number 3, yeah, whatever. But you know, but it's amazing. It's amazing, and I'm glad it's happened that the Street Profits came in number 5, as high as they are. As I said earlier, I had a feeling it was going to be a thing where the whole pandemic and them not necessarily having many people to defend against, or the level of you know, opponents that they've had. Yeah, the Viking Raiders are, you know, got a lot of notoriety in what they've done in the past and all the rest of it, but that whole thing was a little bit sketchy.
Yeah.
And that pun was intended. It was a little bit weird. And then obviously their next opponents was Angel Garza and Austin Theory at WrestleMania. To say that they've defended their championship at WrestleMania is great, but those two kind of thrown together. But yeah, so them being in the top 5, and again, like I said, then going on to defeat the New Day at Survivor Series was a great week for them. But yeah, PWI criteria, I'm here for it all day, if I'm honest. But I do think they got that number 1 wrong. But Mike will probably be happy with this, but it's that AEW bias, bro.
Slightly, yeah.
I'm sorry, but I think it is. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because the whole, you know, hysteria over, you know, AEW and stuff like that, and when they moved over there and blah blah blah, in the same way I said about Moxley when he was number 1 in the men's list. But yeah, it still feels a little bit.
No, I had to. At least I feel I had to get it off my chest in a public forum how I felt. Let it be said as well, though, FTR are actually my second favorite tag team.
They're great
in the world right now.
They're absolutely amazing.
So yeah, it's not easy for me to say that they shouldn't be where they are. But I just found that whole list a bit suspect. Like even Gorillas of Destiny, on it, and they've only came back to work in the last 2 weeks or so. So what the hell?
It was a bit weird. And there were probably a few teams missing and stuff like that. But it is what it is. Top 5 wasn't too bad, but it is what it is. With less than 10 minutes to go, let us talk about our stars of the week. I don't even know, but I'll let you go. I'll let you go first.
So my stars of the week, simple and short. We talked about them earlier. Top Flight. They were going to be my stars of the week from last week for a great performance against Young Bucks. Obviously, a brother tag team, very, very young, very skilled. I loved in their promo before the match, in the video package it showed that like they reached out to Matt Jackson, the Young Bucks, on Twitter. They told them to come in. You know, they've had like 2 matches on Dark, and here they are now. A week later, they're signed talent to AEW. Like, this is the story they're gonna tell their grandkids when they have grandkids, which is all the way down the line still. Like, it's
of course,
a phenomenal story, and they are both really, really good talents. And like you said, of course, they still need work, especially in the entertainment aspect, the TV aspect, but. Kudos to AEW being able to kind of spot talent, and you know it's a jungle out there right now. The minute someone becomes a free agent and has a good showing, you know the Lions are out, and they've out in front of these 2 young boys and made someone that one of their mom must be very proud of them. You know,
crazy.
Big up Top Flight. They're my stars of the week.
Yeah, man. As you said, their mom must be very proud. Completely of our 2 young boys. I guarantee you it's one of those scenarios where when one of them or both of them said to their mom that they want to be wrestlers, she's like, go and find a better job, go and find a proper job, all that kind of stuff.
She probably gave him the Leon Ruff, Damian Priest slap. Don't waste my time, get out of my face.
Exactly. But now I know for a fact she's probably looking at them thinking, oh, my boys. So yeah, man, definitely probably going, you know, showing everyone on the street, these my boys, they do this, they do that, you know what I mean? Um, so shout out to them now massively, because as you said, man, to take the chance to contact the Jacksons on Twitter, and then they were heard and seen and told to come in. 3 weeks later, they're signed talent. 3 weeks after their debut, they're signed talent. As I said earlier, Airwolf, Darius Martin, the older of the two brothers, and Dante as well, are very experienced already. They've been doing their thing for a while, so they're not coming in as green in that respect at all. And obviously, we can see that. We've seen it, in their performance and stuff like that. So shout out to them for sure. So mine, I'm still trying to decide. Now, I think I do have mine, and we've talked about them like about 4 or 5 times already in this show alone. It's the Street Profits. I just feel they've absolutely killed it this week. Absolutely killed it this week. In their performance on SmackDown, in their performance, of course, on at Survivor Series, then them coming top 5 on that out of nowhere PWI Tag Team 50 list. I definitely feel now, as I said earlier, they are cemented as a real deal, like real tag team. The pandemic era where they had nothing much to do was a little bit questionable, but now it's like they're doing their thing. As we said again, Angelo Dawkins is not being forgotten about. He's making sure that that's not happening. Their promo before their match on Survivor Series was top notch. It was just on point in terms of what they were saying, what they did it for. It was just great. I think they've just had this almost perfect last 7 days. Yeah, and then if you haven't seen what Montez Ford was wearing as well backstage on Survivor Series,
hella swaggy.
Oh my word!
Tripping.
Listen, no one else can wear royal blue like that man. Yeah, the blue hat. I guess it was, as much as it's his swag, maybe even, a tribute to the Undertaker as well at the same time. You know what I mean? Then he had the full blue on. Yeah, the guy is just a different level character, man. He's just a different level guy. So shout out to the Street Profits on that one. I will give a special mention to the New Day as well. The whole Gears of War thing is, just great. I'm pulling for WWE to do something with Biggie very quickly, very, very soon, because I'm getting scared. So let's see what happens with him on Friday. Please, Lord, something. But yeah, man, it's, as you said at the start of the show, bro, it's been a really good week for Black Stars, and even just so we get to talk about NXT UK for another week in a row. Yeah, man, Levi Muir, he lost, but that guy again, he comes out just ready. He comes out so ready,
big,
bro.
man.
He comes out so ready,
big.
bro.
He's massive.
Yeah, man. He's ready, man. He's ready. And I must shout out Ashton Smith and Oliver Carter as well.
Yeah. They kind of redebuted.
Mainly for their new attire.
Yeah.
Right. I kind of gave a bit of frost to Ashton Smith in the week when he posted the picture of the two of them in that new attire with the bright green and bright orange and stuff. And I said to him, "Oh, you're now representing Ghana." Oliver Carter turned you now, going right back to the roots of Ghana. But yeah, man, it was good to see them having a match as well. So yeah, man, it's been a good week. It's been a really good week. Shout out Sasha Banks for winning her match as well at Survivor Series. Oh, and very, very, very quickly, Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns, bro.
Very, very solid match.
So
started slowly, but they built it. They built it
nicely.
nicely.
That was good. The two most perfect men in wrestling today went at it, and it was great, man. So yeah. But on that note, we have seconds to go, and we've done it perfectly. But yeah, folks, thanks as always to those who are in the live chat who come and join us. NK, Mike at AEW News 1. There was a few others as well that I can't see because the thing is gone. Very. Jar Jar Gang. Yeah, man, shout out to everyone who's on the live. You are watching on the WrestleManiac UK YouTube channel. Please subscribe, hit that notification button, all that good stuff, just to make sure that things like make sense. Don't just watch it and like just watch it. Like, subscribe, notifications, help us build what we're doing. And obviously we'll shout you out even more if you do. Also, you are listening on affinityextra.com. Guess what? Yo, listen, this is exclusive. We have an app now. It is available on Apple Store, on the Google Store, everywhere. It's available. It's ready to go, so you can listen on the go wherever you want and all that kind of stuff. So get that Affinity Extra in your relevant stores. And also as well, you can check us out on the station, on the website itself, affinityextra.com. Folks, you've been watching, you've been listening. This is my guy Mex, who is on WrestleManiac.uk. Don't forget the .uk on Instagram, and you can find me. I'm sure you already are with me because I'm just that guy on Black Wrestling Alliance on Instagram, and we're both on Twitter as well, WrestleMania UK and Black Wrestling A. Folks, that is it. I've said enough. I'm waffling now. I gotta go. I'm tired. My kids are waiting for me. Folks, I'm out.
Peace out, guys.